Hi and welcome to cheekyricho Cooking's beef Wellington made in the PieMaker. We're going to make 4 little beef Wellingtons with a half a piece of oyster blade steak, which is a fairly economical cut of meat and it's got lots of flavour. The ingredients are in the recipe box below. There aren't too many of them and this is a real cheaters version. Very economical. So let's get started. We're going to do everything here actually in the PieMaker. Now the first thing I've got here is some chopped up green onion or spring onions. The reason that I'm using those is they're quite mild and they've got a bit of flavour and a bit of colour. To that we're going to add some freshly chopped up parsley, some freshly cracked pepper. And this is our mushroom salt, our magic mushroom dust. It is a combination of dried mushrooms with salt and it's totally preserved. You can keep that for years in that state. Normally when you make beef Wellington, you make a duxelle, which is mushrooms and spices and onions, and then you fry it all up and evaporate all the moisture out of the mushrooms. This is super intense flavour. It's not going to wet our pastry. It's going to rehydrate with the herbs that we've got here and give it a gorgeous flavour. Now, you could use, we've got homemade pate here and I have showed you how to make that in quite a few different recipes, but if you haven't got pate or if you're not into offal or liver, just leave it out. But there is a cheaters version of that as well, which is a little roll of liverwurst that you can just buy in the deli of your supermarket. You just slice through about a centimetre disc of that and pop that on top of your meat and that'll flavour right through it. It's a flavouring, it's traditionally used in beef Wellington, and if you don't want to go to the trouble of making pots of homemade pate, and I'm going to use that because it's what I've got, but you can of course go for this cheaper, easier version. Now we've got our sheet of pastry here. We just cut it into 4 equal squares and thawed it. We're just going to put a blob of our pate in the centre of that. So is that in the centre? About a teaspoon or so. I'm going to leave that clarified butter off that because I don't want that sort of leaking into our meat. Okay, and just put that to one side. Now PieMaker is preheated now. We're just going to drop each one of our little steaks into the bottom of our pan and sear it. No need to put any oil or anything in there. Just sear that off, turn it over and do the same thing on the other side. If you like yours well done, you'll have to cook it a little longer, but that's all you have to do at this stage. A couple of minutes each side and then it's ready to go into our pastry. Okay. After just a couple of minutes, we're just going to turn this over. You can see it's got a little bit of colour on it. We just want to brown it again. You don't need to wipe this PieMaker out at this stage. Okay, now that's pretty quick. Take a piece of our steak out, pop it on top of our pate, and then we're going to spread out our seasoning mixture onto the top of that and fold those little parcels shut and put them seam side down back into the PieMaker. You'll have the mushroom, the onion, you put garlic. You can put garlic butter in here too if you don't like to have the idea of the pate. And let's face it, it's not everybody's cup of tea. Okay, now this is going to be quite soft because the pastry is completely thawed, but we're going to need to stretch it onto itself. So it doesn't need to be too neat here, just so long as you've got a fairly decent seam on the bottom of it. Okay. Like so. See, not too pretty, but anyway, and that goes back into our PieMaker and continue with the rest. You don't need to put any egg wash or anything on the bottom of this. The weight and the juice coming out of the meat is actually going to seal it. You could sprinkle with some sesame seeds on the top if you like, but it's really not going to brown that much on the top. And just keep sealing it all up on top of itself. Because the meat's hot, it's trying to soften the pastry even more, so you really must work quite quickly here. And we're going to shut the lid and just cook it until that pastry is browned on top. By that time your meat will have already been cooked. And it's quite a buttery pastry, so you really shouldn't need to have to breeze the top of it. Shut the lid and just cook it until it is browned on top. Time to get on to your vegetables. Should be about 5 minutes. Okay, after 5 minutes, this is what you should have. We've just got half a sweet potato here that we have steamed in the oven, dotted with some butter and sprinkled with some brown sugar and just finished off in the grill. We're just going to grab our little PieMaker beef Wellingtons out now. You see how lovely golden brown they are. Even on the bottom they're nice and brown. So we just pop that in there like so. Turn that off now. Start its job. That meat will be beautifully cooked. All the juices have rehydrated those mushrooms in there, the mushroom dust. It's a very economical little meal. Okay, there you have it. Cheeky Richo Cooking's Beef Wellington made in the PieMaker. I hope you enjoyed this little cooking demonstration. If you would like to see more interesting recipes and ideas, just check out our Cheeky Richo Cooking channel. And don't forget to please subscribe and do come back and visit us again soon. We've got so much more to show you and we're uploading lots of videos. And thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Well, let me show you what they look like inside, shall we? It's cooked medium. The mushrooms rehydrated in the onions down the bottom. The pate is just melted through and the pastry is cooked all the way through. It's lovely and crispy. We'll taste, shall we? See how tender and juicy that is? Yummo. I'm piping hot. Thanks for watching.